Hello everybody, welcome to something quite different. I moved to a new job in a new city, and I had neither the time nor the place to film new videos. But I plan to record new material around Easter. And until then, I thought I can show you this as a sort of status update. This is the Kime no Kata I showed at my Dan graduation in December. It is definitely not perfect. If you're looking for a great example, I suggest footage from the Kata World Championships. That is easy enough to find here on YouTube. While this is going on, I will point out some of my mistakes and some general thoughts on the kata. As I said, the kata here is not perfect, but I would say it's not bad either. I got a few complaints, but generally the examiners were quite pleased by our performance. As it is the case with kata, a lot of that is thanks to my uke, who's definitely a better kata guy than I am, and that just helps a lot. So, the first technique after the whole opening ceremony, he grabs my wrists, I kick him and lock his arm. I never really got comfortable with the kicks from this position. It feels very cramped and too close, and I would prefer to just use my knee instead. But yeah, that's the way it is. The second one, he punches me, I redirect, evade, and punch him. You can see me punching a little bit to the left of his head. I did that several times. Then I choke and armlock him at the same time, and that's just fun. The next one, again, a kick from the seated position, not my favorite, but armlocks are always great. Now with this one. I essentially just duck under and push him over. I put my right foot in front of his knee. It would be easier if I put it a little bit further next to his knee. And then he just gets an elbow. Now the next one, this one is fun. He decides to cuddle. He walks around, gets behind me, and yeah, wants to cuddle. I react how you naturally react to somebody trying to cuddle with you. I throw him over and punch him in the balls. The backslide entry into the seo, well, that feels a bit weird to me, and I have been told that I should keep my hip lower to the ground after the throw. But personally, I feel better putting more weight on him as I turn into the punch, so I prefer to do that. Now he has to go and get his knife, because we start with a knife play. Having done some weapon-based martial arts, I feel that these feel quite unrealistic to me. The defense is essentially the same as it is against empty-hand attacks. And yeah, you'll see the first one. It's just a single stab from him without any follow-up, and it seems a bit artificial to me. So he stabs, and I do essentially the same thing as I did with the straight punch. The next one, he goes for a cut. All my instincts scream to move out of the line of attack, but the kata doesn't want me to do that, so I don't. Instead, I catch his arm and pull him out to the side. So the next stab is essentially the same again as it was from the front, but it comes from the side, from another angle, which is nice because now you can see the whole thing without having to move the camera. And in this one, look out for my right hand, the way I punch clearly next to his face, not into his face. That's not good. Now, this is something that happens on multiple places in the kata. The ceremony says that he has to sit down in front of me, and I always panicked a tiny bit here because I thought I had forgotten a technique, and I was screaming in my head, what have I forgotten? Oh, I have forgotten nothing. That's just the ceremony. So he goes outside, gets rid of his knife, and the standing part starts off similar to the sitting part, but now the kicks feel far more natural to me. So he starts off with the wrist grab. Now I have the space to really kick him, and it feels, just to me, it feels much better there. The next one is fun. He pushes me a bit forward. I kick him to the knee, throw him Osotogari. And I always had the urge here to follow this up with an armbar just for good measure, but you're not allowed to. Now, this punch defense, I think you have to be very confident of your skill advantage for that. But I love the transition into the choke as he tries to pull back. Now here we have the Matrix move into another arm lock. And this becomes really hard to do as Uke picks up speed in his punch. Ukigoshi simply because Kano liked Ukigoshi, I think. So it has to be in there somewhere. Now the next one. If you do this right, it leaves bruises on your Uke's collarbone because you're really essentially punching his shoulder back. And now, always remember to re-stomp the groin. Next one is a Seonage, or a Seo, similar to the one on the ground. And I was terribly jumpy and twitchy here. Don't really like that, too much jumpiness. Again, him standing in front of me like that always made me think, oh, have I forgotten something? Oh, no, I haven't. He's turning around. Good. Some standing knife play is next. It's very similar, again, to the seated stuff. And again, you can see how I punch way next to his face. And there's my fist a couple of centimeters next to his ear, while I'm supposed to hit his nose. So he stabbed. Next thing, he's going to cut again. And I catch it without going out of the line. Instead, I pull him out of the line. Now comes the last part. He goes to the side again, gets rid of the knife, and picks up the sword. It finishes off with 2 sword attacks. The first one actually starts off with the best idea you can have as far as I'm concerned. And that is to stop him from drawing it in the first place. So he gets the sword. He tries to draw it, I move in, stop him from drawing, and then I go for a choke. Now, letting go of the sword in order to choke him, I would call that bold. If everything works out the way it should, he can't draw the sword at all in that position, but I would still feel more comfortable with direct control of the sword. The last one you saw there, well, I personally think that is somewhat silly. Having done actual sword sparring, if he has sword drawn and I have nothing, he needs to be really stupid for me to be able to do anything at all. So, yeah, that feels very, very artificial. But, yeah, that was my Kime no Kata. As you can see, I'm somewhat critical concerning the techniques, and I don't always agree with what you are supposed to do. But personally, I think that being critical with things like that actually really helps you to improve yourself. Just because it isn't a kata doesn't mean that it is the perfect solution or the perfect solution for you. I think you can learn more in doing kata when you really think, why are they doing this? Is this working for me? Why is it maybe working or not working for me? So yeah, I hope you had fun with this, and stay tuned for new videos in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Have fun!